Regulation, in order for it to be able to mobilize consumers to take action, it's got to be accurate. It's got to be well conveyed. People have to be able to get that message, attend to that message, and know what action to take. And it is very possible that the information provided is ineffective. That as a result of getting this notice, you don't know what it says or what to do. What might happen? Well, people could underreact, they could overreact. And if they underreact, if the first part of the equation isn't working, then the second part of the equation can't work, right? But I think in information security, we have to ask ourselves another question. If your credit card number was breached at TJ Maxx, TJ Maxx is also a victim, aren't they? I mean, they could do certain things to put in certain security measures, but they're not really a producer in the same way that information regulation works in the health example, the food industry example I just provided you. So what? So where are we? So where I am is that I'm looking to see, does information regulation work in data breach disclosure? You know, it's supposed to control the costs of government through the use of market mechanisms. Are those market mechanisms working? It's supposed to use market mechanisms to create a competitive equilibrium to shift the economic supply and demand so that we are efficiently allocating our resources in a way that increases our social utility, our well-being. Is that happening? Is it reducing identity theft? Is it causing consumers to act any different? Even if it is causing us to act different, is that really changing privacy erosion? That's a big question, a hard to answer question, I think. So those are the motivating questions. I think these are too big to answer. These are the motivating questions. And where I am in a more practical way is to look at the costs and the benefits of these policies and the consequent social welfare effects. And I'm focusing just right now on Indiana and trying to look at the conditions under which mandatory information disclosure would lead to a reduction in identity theft and an enhancement of privacy. So questions like, do consumers decide to reduce or withdraw from consuming goods and services of a firm that has suffered a breach? There is some, as Professor Clifton pointed out earlier, there is some information out on this. But right now it's coming mostly from a single source. Not a lot of studies. Do investors shun the stock of these firms? What are the costs, to these people? Do consumers react differently toward profit-driven firms as opposed to non-profit-driven firms? Remember that these data breach disclosure laws apply to nonprofits as well. Are there differences in consumer reactions by different groups, demographic variables? So I'm trying to work my way towards establishing indicators of consumer loss and surplus in this area. So my goal today was to hopefully provide you with a different perspective. I don't know all of the topics that you've had covered this semester, but to provide you with a different perspective on information assurance and security research, and specifically one that is public policy focused, based on my view of information assurance and security as being multidisciplinary. And thank you. I went past it, didn't I? Thank you, and if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. And I did put my email address at the very last slide, dark@purdue.edu. In case you're interested, have questions or comments for me later.